and welcome to Strictly on the Sofa.
The show where we over-analyse every sequin, every heel turn and every dance
disaster.
From the comfort of our own sofas. Sofa.
Just one sofa this week.
Sofa each. Sit down on it. Where to start? Where should we start this week?
I
don't know. Should we start from the bottom again? Like, not because we've done it for the last 2 weeks and it actually works quite well, but also because Danny John Jules ended up at the bottom, which is why this series is so exciting.
So exciting. He's been a real, bouncy, ping pong, up and down and up and down.
Not Mr. Consistent at all.
Not at all. I don't know where they got that from.
Or is it Charles? No, it was Danny that they...
No, they called him...
Mr. Yeah, it was. Because I remember being like, oh wait, I wonder how it pleased Amy is by being called Mr. Consistent.
But he really
not really
hasn't
what you want to
been
hear,
at all.
is it?
I saw a little chart, someone had put it all into a chart the other day of everyone's scores, and he had really been up and top, bottom, top, middle.
Yeah, he's not always been top, has he?
This was a dance disaster. Oh my god!
Odd.
I'm sorry, Dan. I felt really sorry for him.
No, same.
He obviously had just gone wrong.
Amy was completely right in the results show. It's just an unlucky week, wasn't it?
Exactly.
And she said she would have been devastated to go out on that. And I agree, it would have been devastating to watch him go out on that because it was clearly just a trip up.
The thing was, I was worried that he would be against anyone sort of vaguely good in the dance-off, and then he would not go wrong and someone would go out and it wouldn't be fair.
Yeah.
But in the end, that didn't happen. So, let's talk about the music choice.
So, I hated the song. It gave me a panic attack. It didn't literally... Honestly, I was sat in my bedroom I don't like... It didn't make me feel good. It genuinely made me feel like my heart was racing. I didn't like it.
And then because he was going wrong, it was oh, yeah.
Exactly. It was such a double whammy of please let this end.
Yeah.
The song choice was absolutely awful.
Yeah.
I think it started off so promisingly as well, though. I will say that. I did think, this is going to be quite good. But it just didn't feel quick-steppy enough for me. Even if it had gone right, I did not like that music. I like quick steps that are more like Vic and Graziano's and Danny Max from all those years ago.
But just happy and skippy.
Can't hurry.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Whereas it was a stressful sort of quick stuff, and I don't care for that. Also, I don't know that song. It's Freedom. Isn't a second one called Freedom?
Yeah, there's been so many
They were dancing to Freedom, and I was like, eh.
I think it's a Pharrell song, but I'd never heard it.
I'm never listening to it
I know. I think that... I know he's at the bottom and it wouldn't have made a difference, but I think he's overmarked. Bruno gave him 7. Did he not notice all of the mistakes he was making?
So unfair, considering that's also what he gave Kate.
Yeah.
Kate, who didn't go wrong.
Yeah, but mainly Kate.
See... Yeah, Ranj went wrong, but I also agree. The fact Ranj was better than Danny.
Yeah.
Because Danny literally went wrong. I think that...
Yeah, consistently throughout the whole dance was wrong.
It was quite spectacular. Yeah. Bless him. I feel so sorry for him. Because it clearly had gone right in rehearsals as well. It was just I think it was nerves, though. I do agree with Craig. It did seem like he just sort of got in his own head about it for some reason. But not to bring back Danny Mac into it every time, but he also had that week where he if you can't rewatch his Halloween dance because he just goes really badly wrong in it.
It happens to everybody, and I'm glad that Danny didn't go out on that. That would have been unfair, I think, or not unfair this week, but it would have been a shame because he's obviously done some brilliant dances.
It does mean that he's broken the pattern of whoever's bottom of the leaderboard leaving, though.
Yes. And no one even kind of right near the bottom.
Thank God, I was so... Right, let's just go one step up. I was so worried about Kate.
I know. I thought she would be in the dance-off at least.
She was so because technically she was really bottom of the leaderboard. I thought if you take away the fact that because Danny was an outlier, right?
Yeah.
Outlier Georg who was. Have you seen that meme? That's
no.
Okay, I'm not going to talk.
Wow. Just a little in-joke for Laura, but no one else.
It's about a spider called Georg who's an outlier who shouldn't be counted because he makes so many mistakes or something like that.
Aww.
But anyway, Danny John Jules is Georg in this scenario.
Yeah, right. So I also think that Kate was undermarked.
She was so undermarked. I think it's absolutely appalling, not to talk like Craig, but that he gave her a 4 and Danny a 4.
Yeah,
like
ridiculous.
I'm having a laugh. Like the fact that he gave her a 4 in the first place made me so angry, but also the fact that he gave it to someone who something went so badly wrong.
Yeah.
And Kate didn't go wrong. The only issue with Kate is it wasn't staccato enough.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
It was all too soft, wasn't it? She's not sort of like working from her core. There's a lot like a strength in the core. Because I thought her leg work was actually amazing.
Like her footwork was where it needed to be at all times. It wasn't like I never felt like Ali Ash was trying to make up for anything. I thought, and also, can we believe that it was Ali Ash's first Argentine tango?
How has that happened? Like, can someone please answer this question for me? Because I thought that by the time you got to the final, everyone had done all the dances. But obviously that's not true. So how has he never done one? I'm so confused.
I would love to see him do one as well. I have seen him do one now. Also, not to like slag off the costumes, because the costumes are amazing, but her dress and his suit did not go together, did they?
No, and neither of them worked for this dance either.
No.
It was really odd. It was a really bizarre choice.
And it makes me wonder if the fact that like they said that they didn't look together in the dance is partially because there was not really a concept, there was not really a driving unity, there wasn't a cohesion of look or whatever for the Argentine tango. I really a cohesion of look. I sounded really good with the cohesion word. But yeah, I think it was just a bit. You're right. There was not enough drive in the line, and that made it a little bit less. I think there was passion there, and I think they mistake her passion face for like resting face, which isn't the case at all. I think she does have passion there. I think there is chemistry between her and Ali Ash, but I think it wasn't. It just didn't come across because I think she was soft on all the lines.
Yeah, exactly. But also she was injured, so they were probably playing it a little bit safe. I mean, they were still doing lifts and stuff like that.
Did you see the way that he lifted her off the ground at the end? He took her, and it was quite gingerly. Yeah. Like she looked like she was getting. Like, she really did look like she was in agony. Yeah. And she was on the gas and bloody air the night before on Instagram.
Yeah, wow.
And so she hasn't had long to recover because it happened on Friday. Yeah. So I felt really sorry for her. I have a feeling it was probably better when she wasn't, but she's probably what's the word? Just not going as full out as she could do, but because she was hampered. Yeah, which is fair. A 4 is nonsense, Claire. Yeah. Nonsense. I'm angry at that. I think 7s would have been fair.
Yeah. I am worried. I want them really, like, this is the week they had to pull it out the bag and they didn't. And I'm just, like, I'm so glad they weren't in the dance off because I was really thinking that they might be. So next week, Kate, please pull it out the bag. I want to know what dance she's doing.
It's quite frustrating because she's got so much potential, and I know that foxtrot that she did. We know she can do the dances, but she's just had a few tough weeks. That samba has either really knocked her confidence, or she's just had a couple of unfortunate dances after that samba.
I think it's hard. She's had a samba, a rumba, and an Argentine tango. Is that in a row? Was there anything else in between? I think that was it, wasn't it? So anyway,
that is quite difficult.
That's hard.
Rumba's notoriously
she did Feeney's Waltz in the middle of that as well, which was undermarked.
But it was undermarked, and it was lovely. So yeah, she has, but the fact they undermarked it ruined it a bit, didn't it? So yeah, I want her. What we said about Graham last week in the dance off, her time has not yet come. We know she's got more in her. Yeah. And that's what we need her to pull it out of the bag again, because I love Kate. She's obviously I don't think anyone should say this really, but I can't see her getting to the final, but I think she could do really well, and I love her. And also
I'd like her to at least maybe be in contention for the final. At the moment, I don't
coming up around the outside.
Yeah. So
she started off strong, but she's had a bit of a blip. But it's only a speed bump, it'll all be okay.
Exactly.
And Ali Ash was the most perfect partner to get her over that speed bump. And she's having fun, which I like, apart from being injured, which is not fun. Yeah. We like her. But speaking of coming to the end, Ranj.
Dr. Ranj.
Oh, sorry. I'm sure he insists upon it. Does he insist upon it?
Does he insist upon it?
I'm trying to remember that when Judge Rinder was in it, whether they said Judge Rinder or whether they said Robert Rinder.
I think they said Judge Rinder.
Maybe we can forgive Dr. Ranj though, because at this point I'm literally does he insist upon it? Is he doctor?
So shout out to my grandma, because she called it this week. She said, I think, this is before they'd even danced, she said, I think Ranj is in trouble and maybe Kate, but she didn't want Kate to go, so she was like, I think it will be Ranj going. So well done, Grandma. You got it right. I think it was his time, don't you?
It was his time. I'm really glad that he got to go out on a happy dance. That he performed competently.
Yeah.
It wasn't like Vic having to go out on a dance where it just wasn't her best. And she had more to give. I think he had plateaued and he gave his all, and that's exciting. Like I'm glad he got to go out on a dance that he had fun with. I think he was overmarked. Well, I
can't believe. I was going to say I can't believe he got an 8. He didn't. I'm just reading it wrong.
But I think it annoys me that he got a 6 when he went wrong, and they told him he went wrong. He got a 6 and Kate still got a 4. I think it's inconsistent. And also, I find it weird that they just kept mentioning his smile. I'm like, it's being a bit personal. Like, I'd be annoyed if you, like, I don't know, like, you shouldn't mention about people's physical, like, things.
And it's all very well having, like, a really good smile, but if everything else is just terrible, falling apart, then, like, to start, not just scoring him with his smile. I don't know.
Completely. And it's also, so if we said that Sean was on borrowed time last week, I think he was, like, I think basically Vic should never have gone, obviously, and then Sean should have gone that week. Rand should have gone last week.
Yeah.
And then Vic should still be there.
I mean, I don't know, because he was really positive and happy and everything, and so was Jeanette. So together they were quite, like, energetic. Yeah. But I feel like he'd got to a ceiling of how good he was going to get, and everyone else is just, I don't know, just leagues above him, I think. I mean, even Kate when she's on a good day. So yeah, I did feel like it was his time. You're not keen, are you?
I don't care for him, but I don't know why.
I think it's because we're not sure if that big smile is, like, genuine, or if it's just him, like, he's actually really, like, an evil person underneath, like the sort of diva who insists on being called Dr. Ranj and is like like that, like when it was announced he was in the dance off, then he went up and he was like, you know, big smiles, like, it's fine, and we were all joking that, like, actually behind that smile he's going, like, I'm going to kill everybody in this room.
I got the bullet. Even though that's completely out of context and wrong, but, you know, I just I do think there's an alter ego there. I know it sounds awful, but I just feel like if you met him in a bar, he'd be like, who are you? And, like, I just get that vibe. And also, in his VT, I felt like his VT confirmed that vibe for me, because he was not having fun when it went wrong. But then Jeanette I trust Jeanette, and Jeanette likes him. But also, we did joke about the fact that he's deleting her phone number as we speak. So.
We'll always be best friends. And, like, goodbye.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, he could be lovely, and this is very harsh. Like, but I'm not terribly upset that he's gone.
No, I feel like
it was fine.
It was fine.
Poor Charles, who he was against in the dance-off, did not deserve to be there. I don't feel, even though he was so close on the. So the reason we've gone on to Charles is not just because he was against Ranj in the dance-off. He's next up on the leaderboard. Ranj got 27 and Charles got 28, so it was actually really close. But I still don't feel like Charles deserved to be in the dance-off.
No.
I thought his Viennese waltz was quite beautiful, really. And actually, I'm going to say with a 6, undermarked.
Yeah.
I think 7s and 8s seemed fair.
I thought it was really nice.
It was lovely.
Here's my point. I think he needs more drive on the 1. His 2 and 3 were really lovely, but on the 1 there wasn't enough kind of power in it. And that sounds really weird because it's a Viennese waltz, so you think it's all soft and lovely. But it's like you were saying earlier about, it's not just about being soft. Like, you can still be really masculine doing a Viennese waltz. And he sort of compensated and lost that. I don't know how to explain it.
So earlier I was speaking to Flo and I said that, yeah, exactly that. I thought my opinion was that he thinks that because it's a light ballroom dance, he needs to somehow soften it. Like, because there was a moment where when he had his hand on Karen's cheek, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be so gentle and romantic, and it was. But I felt like he thought that meant that be all like loosey goosey and like, a bit like limp.
Yeah.
And I was just a bit like, And then I said this to Flo, and Flo was like, there's not enough drive on the one. And since she said that, it's all clicked. Like, it made so much sense that when you said that, I was like, that's why it felt... Because I have a friend who does not listen to this podcast, I don't think, so hopefully she won't mind me saying this, who... she's always watched like the dancing, because I'll send her like a picture of Danny Mac, like a video of Danny Mac, and be like, oh my god, isn't this the most attractive thing you've ever seen? And she'll be like, nah. She finds it really sort of masculine, which I've never found at all. I think Kevin can be like, you know, I think they've really got a...
Kevin's even more attractive when he's dancing,
I've always found that. That's the reason I watch Strictly. I mean, when we get to Giovanni, I've got a lot to say. Like, I was thinking... Also, Joe. I feel like we should have a Laura's crush section.
Who's it going to be
this week? Exactly. Always Graziano. Did you see that pro dance? Like, oh my god. As Flo said... Flo's dad said,
My dad messaged me because he knew we were watching it together, and he was like, oh, looks like Graziano's forgot his vest today. Hope he's not getting chilly.
I, for one, would love him to get hypothermia, if that's what it costs. It was a joy. What did he say about when Nadia did the trust fall?
There was in the results show, then Nadia like fell back into, literally he like caught her by the head,
like at the last minute as well, like she went so low,
and we were like, I would not trust anybody to do that, anyone at all, and Laura was like, no, me neither. And then we were like, you trust Graziano? And
I said it wasn't that I would trust him, it's that I would be willing to risk it, like cracking my head open on the off chance that he doesn't catch me, because he might catch me.
What lengths?
I love him. But yes, I thought Charles could have been... He doesn't have to sacrifice strength or masculinity for a Viennese waltz. It can be both.
Yeah, exactly.
And so but I really liked it, and I think he is making incredible improvements.
Yeah.
Especially not in just himself. Like, I know more about him. I like him.
Exactly.
I actually was really upset to see him in the dance.
Me too. So... But the thing is, I don't know who I would have wanted in the dance-off instead of him. Like, maybe Kate, but I don't want Kate in the dance-off, so... Yeah.
I think Lauren for
Maybe
me.
Lauren. We're skipping Graham here, but should we talk about Lauren now and go back to Graham?
Yeah, I think so, because I think that's where Lauren should be.
Yeah, I know. I think they should be swapped around. I feel like they made such a fuss about being in the 30 club. AJ needs to shut up. They made such a fuss about being in it. It's almost like it was inevitable that the judges would score them enough that they would be in the 31
I was a little bit like, what's Claudia going to say when they don't get into the 30 club?
I know, because I didn't think that this was their best dance. I thought their passo was better.
Much better.
And... it got 3 8s, and I hated the theme. Like, I hated the song. It's such a stupid juvenile song. Like, I was a fan of Avril back in the day, so this is, But, if you're going to do Avril, like, do proper, like...
Do Skater Boy.
Skater Boy. Do it properly.
And also, to be honest, like, Girlfriend is just a bad song. Like, it was her worst. Do you remember when she had a bit of a hiatus between Girlfriend and her first album, didn't she? And then it was just like...
Yeah, awful.
Awful business.
But also, she recorded it in, like, a million languages, and, like, just...
Was this after... there's that whole conspiracy that Avril Lavigne died and she was replaced. Also, there's a shop near Leicester Square that I'm 99% sure in one of it, like they have the stock photos in a photo frame, there's a picture of Avril Lavigne in it. It's really weird. But it's like really of weird. The person that Avril Lavigne is meant to have been replaced. Anyway, that is a bit of London trivia for you. Yeah, I think it was just an odd concept. I didn't care for it.
I didn't think it was... I still think she looked a bit reserved in it.
I think there were moments where I thought she had gone wrong as well.
Yeah.
Like, there was a bit with... I don't know.
And I just think that she, like... I don't know. I think she didn't have a character to really inhabit.
No.
Like, the one she did have was, like, potentially, like, a sort of bratty, like, naughty skater girl. And, like, it just... It didn't suit her.
It fell flat.
And also, like, I feel like we need to say it, but, like, AJ just... He keeps making dances about himself and no one's picking him up on it. But he did that thing where he, like, ran around the skate rink. What are they called? That's not the skate rink, that's for ice skating.
I don't know.
Like where you skate
ramp.
along the ramp.
I think.
You can tell I've never been in a skate park.
And like Shirley.
So the most relatable thing, like, I feel like everyone will understand this, having been to the skate park with their kids. And I was like, no, Shirley.
So have you ever been to Bourne? They've been having plans to have a skate park for like as long as I've been alive, and it is yet to materialise.
That's our hometown.
Oh yeah. Very small. We've only just got a Costa. Very exciting.
So yeah, and then also I'm glad that Shirley pointed out that jump that AJ did over Lauren actually needed a lot of Lauren, because I didn't know that, and I was like, well, AJ's made it all about himself, and I still feel like he could have done any other move that needed a lot of incredible strength from Lauren that could have showed her off better.
I completely agree. I think I've constantly got the vibe for the last couple of weeks. But I have for the last couple of weeks thought that he sort of makes the routine almost before he's got the partner. That's how I feel. Like he's had these routines like in his head, and then he puts Lauren into it. Whereas like
so true.
Kevin would be like, "What can Stacey do?"
Yeah,
and so and I think so. Not to go on about Graziano, but everyone has this opinion of Graziano that he makes it all about himself, possibly because he's Italian and good looking, but also because Craig called him out on it. Graziano made one dance about himself, and as I've said, I think he was overcompensating because it was his first ever dance on Strictly. But regardless, even if he wasn't overcompensating and he was being a bit whatever, he made one dance about himself. And when he left with Vic, everyone was like, it's because he made it all about himself all the time. That's not true. And because Craig gave him the license to say that, why has no one called AJ out on this?
Yeah, we're doing it now. We're calling him out.
It's ridiculous. I just didn't care for it. I thought I was so surprised when it got 8. And then like she seemed really hesitant. I agree.
I thought she did.
I won't watch it again.
No. There you are. Graham, then, who should have been above Lauren, but was not.
He only got 2 8s. And a 6. Are you having a laugh?
Did he get a 6? Oh, Craig, seriously? This was lovely. I really liked this. It was
helped by the fact that he was so emotional over his grandma and granddad.
But I get that, like, to him, and it was lovely. And he could do some drive on the one. He was very good at that.
I also thought his footwork. I'm really glad that Shirley said, your footwork was amazing. And you could tell that Oti had worked hard on that. And when Oti was like, I want him to have fun but also do it right, I was like, I love this. Their partnership, it grows on me like when he buried his little head in her shoulder. It was lovely and it was romantic, and I loved the bandstand. As props go, not all the props worked this week.
No.
The cube.
And
I thought it was really beautiful. Oti looked
beautiful. And also, let's just talk about that Aretha Franklin medley, because she was amazing in that.
I won that yellow dress. It was insane.
That woman can just do everything.
Engineer. All
Dance. Of it. All the things I wish I could do.
Like she's a queen.
So yeah, I feel like they should have been a bit higher. So glad they weren't in the dance.
Yeah, I was really worried about them.
Very pleased.
And when they announced Kate quite soon on, and I was so chuffed with that.
Yeah.
And then we almost forgot to worry about Graham, and we were like, no, Graham! But then when he went through, we were chuffed to little meatballs. I like Graham. I wish they'd stop calling him a joke act. I do think they treat him as if they expect him to be so crap. And I think he's a complete novice. And yes, his complete novice status is a little bit different to Stacey's complete novice. But it's not fair to keep being like, you're good.
Yeah.
He's got potential. He's definitely got... Like, his musicality, I know I mention this every week, is amazing.
Yeah.
Compare him to Sean, who was also a novice, who couldn't even hear the music.
Yeah.
Like, it's not fair to be constantly so surprised with Graham, because I still think he's got more to give. And I love him. Joe! So Laura's crush corner. I officially fancy Joe Sugg.
Yay!
Well, hey! I don't know if it's the eyeliner, the fact he was handing out plates of hors d'oeuvres in his passer.
I think he's lovely.
A gentleman. When I was having a bit of a mare earlier, I was like, he is the blueprint for modern masculinity. Because he's just what you want in a boyfriend, isn't he? Makes you laugh. Makes you... tea. I bet he would make you a cup of tea.
He would make you a cup of tea.
He offered it when they said for people voting for him. He was like, make you a cup of tea.
Yeah, there you go. Proof.
I just think, and he's got a cinema in his house, I think. As in, like, he's got when I've seen him watching the show, it's on a big projector.
He's the perfect modern man. Wow.
Honestly, what a dream. It's all I want in a man. Tea, cinema and
laughs.
I love him. And a bit of eyeliner if you want to do the passo. I thought his passo was really good.
I did. I was worried because he's not, I'm not saying he's not masculine, like he's obviously like
blueprint
a man, but he's you know, he's quite slight, isn't he? He's a modern man, like he's not old school macho, you know, and so could he pull off the passo? And like I think there were times where he didn't so much, but there were times where he really did, and you could tell how hard he was trying to do all of the shaping, like he was putting so much effort into the facial expressions and everything. So yeah, overall I really enjoyed it, really enjoyed it. There's just a couple of times where like there was this bit where he kind of like walked like forward and Diane was walking back and he had his arm stuck out and his hand was just like that, and he was just walking and his arm and hand was really awkward out the side, and I was like, you've forgotten about your hand. So that actually like made me laugh, which you should not be laughing at a passo, but the rest of it was really good.
I said it really reminded me of what was his name? I keep thinking Audley Harrison, but it's not his name at all.
The rugby
Austin
player,
Healey. Same initials, that's what it is. Austin Healey, who I've literally referenced on our Twitter account, Strictly on the Sofa. So, like, I don't know why I've, like, forgot. But Len said about Austin Healey's passo, which I loved, that it looked like a waiter serving hors d'oeuvres. And I absolutely get, that's the vibe I got from some of Joe's as well. It was very much try the wine. It was ridiculous. But I think he was amazing in hold. Like when he was doing I can't remember, promenade? Like the thing with Diane when he was coming down the middle was beautiful. Yeah. And I think his shaping was really good there. And you can I agree, you could tell how hard he had worked on that shaping. Yeah. And that's what I really like about Joe. He's really, really working his socks off, and he's not talking about it that much, like, but I think he's really taking it seriously. Yeah. He's not just here to have a nice time.
He could have easily become the joke act, couldn't he? A bit like Sean, or a bit like they're trying to do with Graham. Like he could have been like lol, I'm a young person in this for a bit of a laugh and da da da. Yeah, completely. And actually he looks like he's working so hard and really like dedicated to it.
And we have spoken about how much we like the training VTs more than the we do silly things VTs. And I really liked his training VT this week because, as we say, it's not like he's not, like, obviously he's just a bit slight, but I think it was a strength thing. It was like, you could still be, like, skinny and strong. But the fact that Diane was like, no, you need, like, do sit-ups, you need to be strong. Build that core. Because I think you're right, there's a sort of, with the passo, it needs to all come from there, doesn't it? Yeah. Like I'm pointing at the core. Yeah. I forget we're not a visual medium. And so I think that was amazing that he had got to work on that, and that you get to see them have a lot of fun on Instagram, and I like that, but they've got their balance right, and I really liked seeing Diane teach him. Yeah. And that I would like to see more of that.
Yeah, completely. I love the partnership between him and Diane. I think they're great. Team Joanne. Yeah, I think they're just great. Yeah, that's all I have to say on that.
I agree. I concur. Also, I'm just going to say a 7 is ridiculous, but I also think I would have said 8s because I think 9s were possibly a bit high. Yeah. I would have said all over 8s I'd be happy with. But I think 7 is a bit unfair from Craig, obviously. I like Craig because he's often very fair, but I don't think he was very good this week. I think his marks, I would love to see him explain his marks a bit more in depth. Because some of them it's like last week when he finally explained why he gave Faye a 9, and it was like, because of her glasses, are you having that?
I think, though, that he is normally consistent, like, with himself. It's just that he's that much lower than everybody else. Yeah.
But
and you kind of do need that person, because otherwise you're just going to be handing out 10s all the time. But like
completely, but it's just a 7 seems really hard.
Yeah, I think.
And a 4.
Yeah. So and a 6 for Graham, and overall just a bit harsh.
I feel like I have less problems with at the top of the board than I do at the bottom.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of VTs, I would have loved to have seen Stacey's VT of like a bit. I think I need to see more training vids of them.
Yeah.
Because they've been a bit silly, haven't they, on their VTs? And then this week they had this, like, I'm really glad you pointed out to me, Flo, that the VTs have all been a bit like, here's my Strictly journey. Because I was like, why have they given Stacey a I've won Strictly video?
Yeah.
Because that's how it felt. It was like, I was like, it's not the final though, babe.
Yeah.
But it's because they've given them all weepy sort of my life for couple's choice.
Yeah.
Which,
I think that's it. I don't know, but that's what they seem to have done so far. Because, yeah, it was... But, like, it didn't work because her story's so interesting, right? So I'm not saying I'm not interested in it, but, like, it didn't work because it wasn't part of the narrative. Like, what she was saying is like, oh, this week we've chosen to do street dance. My job is to film documentaries. Now I'm on Strictly. It was such a weird, like, it just didn't work. It was so disconnected. Whereas at least with Charles, he was like going back to his background and like, oh, when I was a kid, I used to do street dance and stuff like that.
And the same with Faye last week. Like, I used to love jazz and performing. My family are all performers. And,
exactly.
Yeah, and then this week it did seem really...
It was really weird, wasn't it?
And it's nothing I didn't know about Stacey as well. Like, I already knew that she made amazing documentaries, and they've talked quite a lot, and they should talk quite a lot. She is amazing and brave about the documentaries that she's done and the people that she's spoken to as part of her documentaries. But when they showed that clip of her as a 20-year-old doing that documentary, I was like, I want to know how you got into this. You just had that throwaway line about how... I ended up like doing this, like getting into documentaries, and I don't know how I did it. Yeah. Like, tell me how. I want to know. Exactly. Instead, that could have been a more like of a journey for it, but instead they gave her a winner's story, and I was like, weird. Yeah. And then that immediately made me take against her, and it's not her fault. Oh my god, I can see what happened when I didn't like Zoe Ball all those years ago happening. Like, in a couple of years, I'm gonna really regret taking against Stacey because I think she's amazing.
Be there telling you were wrong at the time. Literally. I like this week has just confirmed Stacey to win. I think she's fantastic. Like, that was such a good dance.
It was phenomenal, and actually, I took against her. I was very surprised there were no 10s. I think there should have been a 10. Yeah. I think there should have definitely been a 10 last week. Yeah. But the fact there weren't a 10, I don't know where she went wrong this week. I thought it was wonderful. I thought it was a really good dance. I need to see more of their partnership. I need to see more. You can't just keep being like, Stacey's amazing.
Yeah, I know.
I need to see more, like...
I know.
I need to know more.
I was just not convinced it would work at all, right? Like, street dance to New York, which is quite or like Empire State of Mind or whatever, which is quite a slow song, but then they were going to be Ginger Rogers' like aesthetic, and then she injured herself. I was like, oh god, she's in trouble this week. Like, lucky she's got the public vote behind her, because she'll be near the bottom. And she just pulled out of the bag. I thought it was amazing. The bit at the end, did this not make your little heart go when Kevin got his hat and they were like hidden behind?
I thought it was weird. I thought if I was her boyfriend, I'd be livid.
But nothing was going on behind there, was it?
And also,
Kevin wishes.
I feel like Kevin is partly the reason I'm taking against her, because I think he's really like, I'm so proud. We've worked so hard this week, and I'm like Oti was up at 2 a.m. teaching Graham the routine last week. Everyone's working hard, Kevin. Like, Kate has also injured herself, Kevin. Do you know what? Like, stop it. And I didn't care for that bit behind the hat. I was like, oh my god, you're so emotional. I was annoyed by it. And I know I'm wrong.
I don't understand how you've managed to turn against Kevin.
I love Kevin, though. I don't get it. Yeah. I feel mean saying it, but like, I need to see so much more of them being natural. We're not seeing... all of their VTs are them talking to the camera. And I need to see him teaching her.
Yeah.
And I'm not getting enough of that. And I think when I do, I'll... Like, last week is probably the closest we got to it.
Yeah.
And I loved them last week. So, just... I don't want... I know I'm wrong. Because I do think she's amazing. And I wouldn't be upset if she won. So, obviously, I like her. But...
It's okay.
Still, when I found out that she was good, I was like... I don't know, I was annoyed. But I should love her as well, because she's a complete novice.
It's okay, we all have our favourites. And the thing is, she doesn't need to be yours, but she is mine.
I think I'm terrible for an underdog. Yeah. Which is interesting, considering the person I want to win is Faye.
Stacey is actually an underdog because she's never danced before.
Exactly.
But I guess because the BBC have been behind her quite a lot, haven't they? So
Which
she
is what
feels
we
less underdoggy.
The issue was with Stacey's VT, actually, wasn't it? We said it was a bit cross-promotional, because like the BBC were a bit like, go and watch this
by
online.
the way, do you know she does BBC documentaries?
We have this footage, we can use it.
Yeah.
Like, we've got the licence for this one. So yeah, I don't know. It was all a bit odd. But yeah.
But anyway, I'm just going to put in a word for her. I loved it, and I thought she's just improved so much, and she's so nice and down to earth, and I love Kevin as well. I think they're a great team. I think he's in love with her.
I think he's in love with her. He's
like,
I'm so proud.
To happen. Can you imagine? I know she's got a boyfriend.
Pride is not the word you're looking for.
So yes, so I, if they make it to the final, I'll be like really happy. I think that they I think they compete. In fact, that top 4: Ashley, Faye, Stacey, Jo.
Yeah, I love that.
I think that would be a great final, wouldn't it? I think they would all deserve that. There's a couple down, further down, that it would be nice if they did, like Graham and Kate. I think would be nice if they were in the final, but
Ultimately,
yeah,
I think they're my top 4. I really did like the dance, and I will watch it again. And I've watched that Doctor Who one so many times in the last week. Like, I'm pretty sure half the views are me. So I did really like them. I just have issues with her marketing. I don't know. Yeah. So I understand. Like, I'm more reserved in my love for her, is what I would say. No, it's not a full on again. But it's not far from. But next on my list is my ultimate fave. I love
the
her.
True underdog of the
true.
Faye. Faye is also up there for me. She's up there. She's my favourite. You might.
See, I don't want to be. I just got that.
Oh my god.
That was.
But I thought you hadn't, because your laugh was like, ha.
Yeah, I was a bit like, you just said favourite really weirdly. I love Faye. I'm trying to think of it. I am Faye with Faye. That was terrible, sorry. I love her so much. I think, I don't want to be like, oh my god, she's beautiful, but also she's so beautiful.
She really is.
And her partnership with Giovanni is incredible.
I love them together.
What you said earlier about I literally just grabbed Flo really intensely. But what I really love is what you pointed out earlier, that he pretends to be like all up himself, like not up himself, but like really.
Yeah,
like,
he does.
A little bit arrogant, a little bit, and she just takes him down a peg or two.
Yeah,
but that's their dynamic.
I love it
so
much.
It's beautiful. I really care for them. And I'm just gonna give a little shout out to my friend Senan, who listened to this and tweeted me saying, Laura, why don't you fancy Giovanni? Because all of her household, including her housemates who are lesbians, fancy him or like him a lot.
Wow.
And so I couldn't explain it but I've come to the conclusion that I will fancy him by this series is out. He will at some point be in Laura's crush corner, because and I think it actually might end up being like a true love, because I think all the best fan fictions are slow burns, or like love in TV land. So like Jim and Pam and Ben and Leslie in Parks and Rec.
That's true.
And all the soap stars, like all the soap romances.
You don't realise it's coming.
Daniel and Sinead, again for Senan, who's her favourites on Corrie. So I feel like the fact that I'm slowly coming to love Giovanni, and not love him for his looks, but love him for his personality, means that it's going to be I am going to love him by the end of this. And so therefore, anyway, sorry, I did not mean to go on this much about how much I am going to be in love with Giovanni, but I really like their partnership. I thought their tango was sexy.
Yeah, it was
I don't use that word lightly because it's an embarrassing word, but oh my god.
It was brilliant.
It was I just did a little tango turn. That way
the bit right at the end when Faye is on the floor and the dance is finished and she's like that on the floor. I was like, wow, she just looked so strong and yeah.
And also she got slung into that position. He literally threw her and then she was done. How did she? That takes a lot of strength to position yourself. The only problem I had with this dance was what Craig had with his dance. The cube.
Bloody cube.
It constrained them too much. And it instead of making a thing... Craig was just exactly right. I either need to make a thing of it or it just looks like you're dancing in a cube.
Yeah.
And it just annoyed me. I kept being like, oh, why are you in it? Get out.
And I don't necessarily blame them unless they specifically ask for it.
No.
I feel like the first few series of Strictly, there was not that much budget. Everything was so much purer. Like, and I know I'm, you know, a traditionalist. And in some ways I'm not. Like, I love Halloween week, right? So I like some innovation. I'm not stuck in the dark ages. But with bigger budget, with great power comes great responsibility. And just because you've got the budget, it doesn't mean you need to put an elaborate set onto every single dance.
Yeah.
Some stuff they can just dance around the dance floor and it would be amazing. Like, that would have been better without this scenery.
Remember Debbie and Giovanni's tango last year? And that had nothing on it, and it was so simple. It was just them going across the floor, and that's what it needed. It was hampered by that bloody cube. It was just it didn't even fit. Like, call me, like, have a big giant phone, have a fly in on a giant phone would have been more like allowed. Surfing on like an iPhone. Also, not to be horrible, because I love the live band and I'm a huge fan of the live band, and I think Strictly wouldn't be the same without a live band, but they really struggled on Call Me.
They did. It was like Thriller last week. They were like, this is
Sometimes it's just like, oh yeah, that's why they're pop stars.
Sometimes you just know it's a live band. I mean, I'm a big fan, and I'm so glad they don't do pre-recorded tracks.
Which is what they do on Dancing with the Stars. Yeah, and it does, I do think every time I've watched this dance on Dancing with the Stars, it's lacked energy because it's just a recording of the song. It does give it a lot more pizzazz. But it's do you remember when Frankie Bridge did Defying Gravity, and the poor singer had to be like, down. It was just like, don't even just like, imagine just being given your song sheet and it's got bloody Defying Gravity on it. Like, that's not an easy day at the office, is it? Like, just good lord. So I feel like the poor singers had their work cut out, but I thought it was a lovely dance, a lovely song. Shame about the cube.
Yeah.
And it was also a shame because Craig would have got his 10 panel out if it hadn't been for the cube.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
We should have got that out last week, as we said. Loose glasses. Are you having a laugh?
Oh. Anyway. But at least this one was like legit. I agreed with him. I didn't even notice the glasses last week. So
I did on rewatching it, but like not at all when it started.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe. And also, it wouldn't have been enough to knock off a full point for me.
No.
Like 0.2 of a point maybe, but then you just round up, don't you? But actually, speaking of the next person, I keep going into it being like, speaking of, but also it does fit in quite nicely. Concepts that worked, Ashley's. I loved the thing with the bench and the lamppost.
It was so nice.
It was just really sweet and traditional.
Brilliant choice of music.
Oh, wasn't it?
I really love it when they do. Oh my god, I literally sound like an old person, but like a proper old-fashioned foxtrot with all the glamour and like the sort of Hollywood, like. Yeah,
it was super romantic. Wasn't it?
She really looked the part. I think what's actually great about her. Again, I don't want her to win, but I'm coming around to her more. Like, what's great about her is she really suits all the different dances.
Yeah.
Like, she can do really sexy, like, upbeat ones. She can do the slow rumba and be super sexy. But then she can be, like, a troll and be really goofy. And then she can also do, like, proper old-school glamour.
She's Mrs. Consistent.
Yeah,
actually, Miss really? Consistent. Ms. Consistent. Why are all these women married? You know, like from Mrs. Art, yeah. From Matilda. But yeah.
I got it.
We liked Ashley and Pasha's thing, right? Is that what we were
saying?
I
really liked it.
I liked it. I'm really warming to Pasha. He's never going to make it into the Crush Corner, I don't think. But I do really like him, and I'm warming to their partnership.
By this time next week, Pasha will be in Crush Corner.
I'm starting to think he's just an uncomplicated man, which is quite sweet. I think he's adorable.
He is adorable, but he just doesn't like set my heart on fire, you know.
Dependable.
Yeah.
I feel like he's I was going to say Gabriel in Far From the Madding Crowd, you know, as in, like, she goes with the guy that's, like, not good for her, but, like, Gabriel's there with his sheep and his dog.
Yeah.
But that's not fair, I don't think. But maybe that's what he's like for Rachel Riley, because Gabriel's, like, raw.
I feel like if you had a bad day at the office, he'd either be the best person in the world, because he'd be like, oh, it's okay, have a cup of tea, have a cuddle, and you'd be like, thanks, Pash. he might also be the most partial. He might also be the most frustrating person in the world, because you would just want to have a good old rant and he'd be like, don't worry, it's okay, and you'd be like, no, I'm angry.
Like, maybe they've had a tough day too, and you'd be like, no, something's so understanding. Oh my god, I love him. Yeah. I think I don't know, I like their partnership quite a lot. Our friend Angs really put what my feelings are with that. You know how I've said in the past weeks that I don't know how I feel about her being in the competition. I think she deserves to be in the final, but whatever. Angs put it in a really succinct way. It's the fact that she's 3 weeks ahead of everyone else. Like, it hasn't given her an advantage to the point where she's not learning stuff, but she's just about 3 weeks ahead. And I think that's why it's a bit like, oh, of course you're in the top.
Yeah, exactly.
3 on the leaderboard.
Exactly. Like, it's not like she's done ballroom before, but she's done dancing, and that's kind of given her a sort of head start.
But I agree, the traditional romantic, it was very, I loved watching it. I thought the dress was gorgeous. Pasha's suit, very Willy Wonka, but very gorgeous nonetheless. And I just thought it was, Pasha's a good choreographer. I really like them. Pasha. And I like the fact that everyone goes like, Pashley. I really like them. I think it deserved all the 10s it got.
Yeah, it did. I'm still annoyed at it, but, it's nice to watch. So,
exactly.
If it was those 4 in the final, that would be great.
Yeah, I'd be really happy with that. Faye to win.
Faye or Stacey to win. But yes, I agree.
It's in Faye's fate to win.
It's fate.
I'm trying to think. That'd been better. I'm trying to think of a pun around Tozer. Yeah, we'll think.
I can't.
Next
put
week
me on the spot.
Sorry.
Panicking.
I feel like all words went out of my head. I was like, Tozer. I absolutely love Faye though. Faye to win. Oh, I just love that top 4. Yeah.
Excellent.
That top line. Oh my god, that was embarrassing. Right, I loved this week. I thought this week was a return to form.
Yes.
Not that Halloween was good, not bad.
No, but it's always a bit of a rogue one, isn't it? Like everything. Everything just goes a bit like for a week, and then you get back to normal straight away. And we should point out a mistake we made on the podcast last week, because we said Blackpool was next week, and it's not. It's one more week after that. I'm so sorry, everyone. I just got excited.
Also, I need to apologise because I got some musicals trivia wrong, and I'm devastated about it. So I said that Bob Fosse directed Chicago and a chorus line, and he did do Chicago, and I was less sure about Chicago than I was a chorus line, and he didn't do a chorus line, but he did Cabaret. Like,
I see.
Cabaret and something else, which I'm not going to guess at because my memory is clearly faulty. But yes, do not be misinformed by me and my musicals trivia. Do not go to a pub quiz being like, well, strip me on the sofa or something. You don't know. Well, he didn't direct, choreographed, but yes, nonetheless. Sorry! But yes, Blackpool next week. Who's going to get to Blackpool? I don't want anyone to go.
Who's going to go?
I really don't want anyone to go now. They're all...
Charles might be in trouble. Obviously...
Charles might be in trouble. I'm going to tell Charles on you. Sorry, that was really uncalled for.
I'm just not going to say anything anymore.
Sorry.
You can finish the podcast.
Oh no, I'm so sorry. I do think Charles might be in trouble. Bless it.
And to be honest, so might Kate if she doesn't pull it out the
Come
bag.
on,
Come on,
I want to know
Kate.
what she's got next week. I'm sure she said it, but we were too busy being
Not
victorious as she was through. Victoria. We drank from Horn the minute she got through in a Viking show of victory. I love her. Yeah, I hope Kate pulls it out of the bag, and I'm really worried about Charles. Like, to the point where I'm already preemptively voting for him in my head. I'm also, I don't know, I'm not very worried about Lauren because I feel like Lauren keeps getting through.
Yeah.
And even though this was not a good week for her, but whether that's through overmarking or she's got a lot of public support, who knows? But also, I said last week that Ranj had a lot of public support. I was convinced he wouldn't be in the dance-off because he has a strange amount of public support. Not strange, that's harsh. But a big This Morning following, which is a demographic that I've not ever been part of. You know, people who like Ruth Langsford and stuff. She is great. She's a nice woman, but like, I'm not gonna be like, voting I'm a massive fan. Like, oh my god, I am a Ruth Langsford stan. Do you know what I mean? Not gonna happen. So who knows? It's all to play for. Yeah, I really want Kate and Graham to get through to Blackpool though. I really want, like, I know Joe is obviously gonna get to Blackpool, but like, when he dances, it's gonna be all about his nan and how she. I'm already crying. Anyway, I'm excited. So on that note, see you next week. Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Strictly on the Sofa. The theme tune is It Fakes 2 by Ben Corbett. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and rate us on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts, as it helps other people find us. In the meantime, follow us on Twitter at strictlyonsofa or email us at strictlyonthesofa@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your dancing thoughts. See you next week!